Does the craving for improvement fuel your success?
I know Kung Fu.
Show me.
Come on, stop trying to hit me and hit me.
Growth. The desire to see yourself become stronger, physically, mentally, and emotionally. How much does it drive you? Knowing how much it motivates you will make you achieve more, while at the same time preventing burnout. If it's one of your primary drivers, your deeper understanding of growth will begin steering you towards work that you'll naturally succeed at, where you won't need to use willpower and discipline to outperform others. It'll also reveal places at your current job that can tap into your hunger for growth to fuel you right now. And if you discover you're not driven by growth, confirming that will let you skip the mistake of years of grinding on work that for you would be twice as hard and wouldn't even make you happy when you make the top. All right, to discover how much you're driven by growth, let's sit with that desire and see what it feels like. Your values are on an emotional level. So we'll spend a few minutes with that feeling by looking at two familiar movie heroes that lived a path driven by growth, and it led them to victory. Neo from The Matrix. Neo's life is all about growing, about becoming more in every form. Neo starts out as Mr. Anderson, a mundane 9-to-5 office worker. He's bossed around and he has no real agency of his own. But he intuits through his craving for growth that there's more than this, more in the world and more in himself. This leads to him, when he meets Morpheus, to have the courage to take the red pill. Then soon, he learns Kung Fu. Now, the computer teaches him to be a master, but we watch him sparring and fighting with Morpheus, taking all of those things that he already knows to try to make it into more, combining things together, improvising, becoming faster. We see him become smarter and stronger, and it's one of the best scenes. Then, when Morpheus is captured and everyone says it's impossible to rescue him, Neo's growing courage leaves him to be the one person that believes they can. Then, during that rescue, his physical abilities grow as he becomes the first person to dodge bullets like the agents do. Then, during the climax, his growing emotional strength leaves him believing he can be Agent Smith, the most powerful thing in the Matrix. And then he puts together all of his strengths that he's built, and does. If you haven't guessed, growth is by far my number one need and motivator. It drives most of what I've done and what I've accomplished. Now, in movies, growth is usually extreme. Superpowers, magic, an entire life focused on improving just one thing, like an Olympian. But there's many other forms of growth that simply can't be shown with pictures, like emotional development. Having the peace and quiet inside to be able to truly listen to the people around you, having a deeper connection, or better at sales, or have a spiritual connection. Also, the peace to simply understand what you truly like and enjoying those same things twice as much as before. Growth can also be the everyday thing of becoming able to do the same things with less effort and less time, allowing you to create more room in your life to have more things added to it. In fact, many of the most powerful and happy people in the world actually got that way by gaining moderate level abilities in a vast range of skills, which created a unique combination of abilities that no one else in the world had. All right, on to the next hero. Luke Skywalker in Star Wars. Luke is one of the world's most famous stories of growth, growing physically, mentally, and emotionally to become a Jedi Master. He starts off as a farm boy in a desert, farming water. But after he meets Obi-Wan, soon we see him on the Millennium Falcon, learning to use the lightsaber and developing his abilities in using the Force. Through the movie, he develops even more until the climax where he uses this Force to destroy the Death Star. But that's not even the end. In the very next movie, Empire Strikes Back, he learns that there's additional levels to the Force that he could master. He goes and trains with Yoda and gets deeper training physically with combat, mentally increasing his Force abilities, and then starts learning how to fight the dark side at its core by learning emotional strength from Yoda. Finally, in the climax of the trilogy, his strengths combined to resist the dark side and bring his father back to the light side. Luke's story is a story of all forms of growth, which is why this story sticks with us so much. Of the 6 needs, growth is the most widely valued in the workplace. But there's many more places at your work that you could tap into that you could be overlooking right now. A few examples of these will help you start seeing them and then draw out more motivation from your workplace and build a more competitive advantage. Do you ever have to explain things to people at work in groups or one-on-one? Speaking skills is a realm of huge growth potential. It's one thing that's rarely developed by anybody, so immediately you have a huge opportunity there. Since you probably haven't done much on this front, when you first start, you're going to get tons of growth, those newbie gains. And then there's the massive competitive advantage that's going to feel really rewarding because you're effectively racing a rock. No one else is working on this. You're the only one, so you'll feel that amount of progress really huge. Speaking also has a really high ceiling for the ability you can get and the benefits you can get from it. So keep putting more into that. You're going to keep getting growth. That'll fuel your fire. Next, have you searched to see if there's any new AI tools that have come out that may apply to your work? These are popping out faster than I could list them, and way faster than one person could be skilled at all of them. So if you keep your eye open and find them when they do appear, you can use these to multiply your abilities at work and maybe even share with your team. Another overlooked but very powerful skill to grow is time management. This is one that's needed at every job, so it definitely can help you. This goes far beyond procrastination. We have things like the Pomodoro technique and then the 80-20 principle, spending the same amount of time but just putting it on things that bring a huge reward instead of things that don't actually produce much. And then the awareness of time usage. This takes a long time to develop, but studies show that we spend maybe 60% of our time at work wasted on things that we don't even notice we're spending our time on. Time management is something with an unending ceiling. So from your first job for the rest of your life, this is a place where pay attention to it. You can get some more benefits out of it, some more growth, and just, feel that strength growing. A few other random places that you can find growth at work. Conflict resolution. This is always needed, and when you have that skill, it's massively appreciated and valued by your employers. The biggest one, though, is my favorite, entrepreneurship. Whatever you're doing for a living, you can do some of that as a side gig in the evenings or on the weekends. This is just rocket fuel for people who enjoy the feeling of growth. First of all, when you grow something in your side gig, you feel all of it. You don't just get paid the same amount of money for working the same amount. If you improve it, grow it, get more clients, you see all the results happening. Plus, there's a whole array of other skills that you're going to have to learn or get to learn and see how improving each one of these pays off and starts moving the lever on your side gig. Things that would be handled by other employees at your day job, these are, you get to be everything. I dip my toe in this a little bit, and as someone heavily driven by growth, I love it. It just gets me excited and fired up. That's why I'm always a busy guy. That's why I'm doing this. Now, after this deep dive with growth, how much do you feel it drives you? Do you see any places at your current work that provide you with growth? Thinking about it now, do they motivate you more? If you're driven by this value, the more you pay attention to it, the stronger this feeling will increase that edge that it gives you. You can also gain more of this edge from any of the other 6 needs that you also resonate with. Find out how strongly you feel about the rest of them. Personally, I connect strongly with 3 of them. Or if you've realized that you don't care about growth, that is power too. You can recognize jobs pushing growth as a benefit and know that for you, it wouldn't have any value. It would just be a trap. Avoid it and find work that does use the needs you have. Now pick the next value you're interested in and learn how much it drives you, or jump straight to contribution. It's the mirror opposite of growth, but you might just be strong in both of them. Find out how much you connect with all 6 and use all of your strengths.